morning, everyone. So I'm Shannon, if you don't know me yet. And we'll start seated today. So as you start to set yourselves up, I'm not going to specifically cue any props, but I'll give options. So if you like to have extra things of support, so either like an extra blanket if we're on our knees for a little extra padding, or blocks, or you can be creative with the things that you have around your home, so that way you can make your practice a little bit more comfortable. But as we're getting settled in, we'll come into a comfortable seat. I don't care what you do with your legs here. They can be crossed, they can be out long. You're welcome to sit up on a pillow or a blanket just to elevate your hips a little bit. But just find a place where you can pause for a few moments, where you can begin to settle into your practice. If it feels okay, you're welcome to close your eyes or just soften your gaze. You just woke up and you're still feeling tired, maybe don't close your eyes, but just keeping that gaze soft. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Feel yourself grow up nice and tall, as if there's a string at the top of your head, just lengthening your spine. Relax the jaw and the muscles of your face. Just begin to bring yourself into this space this morning. Notice anything going on in the space around you. So maybe there's other people moving around. Maybe there's animals running around. Maybe it's the hum of a fan or a heater. I just invite you to notice those sounds that could become distractions for your practice. Just become aware of them, recognize them. Know that you can't do anything about them. And start to notice your breath, so helping bring your focus and your attention into your own body. I find that when I start to get distracted, just noticing my inhale and exhale can kind of pull me back into this space. It's something I can focus on and I can control. Oh, one more rounds of breath here, just settling in. One more breath here. Welcome to keep your eyes closed or just start to open them, but just to start to make some movement with the shoulders. So just rolling the shoulders up and back. Then reversing direction. And just allow your fingertips to come by your side. If you'd like, before we do our next move, you can always change the position of the legs. So if they were crossed one way, maybe switch the cross. And then just allow the fingertips to come by your side and reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Stretch it nice and tall. And then release the arms all the way down. Reach the arms all the way up, nice and tall. And then reach the arms all the way down. One more, reach the arms all the way up. And release the arms down. And walk your hands in front of you. And then just start to walk your hands a little bit forward, just starting to lean forward. Doesn't have to be a lot. It can be really deep, it can be really small. You can even just add a little bit of movement and motion, just gently rocking the body. Start to walk your hands in, and let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky again. But this time we're going to bring the left hand down towards the ground and stretch and reach through the right side. So you can always walk that left hand out. And really feel like you're trying to lengthen the right side of the body. Create just a little bit of extra breathing room in your ribs. And come all the way back up to center, and let's go right over to the other side. So bring the right hand down and stretch and reach through the left side body. So really feeling that left hip root down as you reach and stretch. Your gaze can be wherever is comfortable with your head and your neck. And start to come all the way back up to the middle. Release the arms down, move the shoulders. Yeah, shake it off, anything you need to move. And then just allow your hands to rest on your thighs or the knees. We're going to keep moving the spine in all different directions. So now we're going to flex and extend the spine. So a big cat-cow, but seated. So just start to round the spine. Bring your chin to your chest. Feel like you're trying to create extra space in the whole back body. And then move in the opposite direction. So feel your heart come forward. Maybe the gaze looks a little bit up. Feel like you're trying to create more expansion across the front of the body. And we'll take that a couple more times. So hug the belly in, let the chin drop to the chest, round the spine. And then start to feel your heart pull forward, look forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together, expanding the heart. Let's do that one more time. Round the spine, chin to chest. And then start to open the heart. Look forward. And start to bring yourself back to center. Again, you're welcome to add any movements. So we've done side to side, front and back. So now let's add a little bit of rotation with the spine. So reach the arms all the way up to the sky. And then start to twist over to the right. So start to bring your right hand behind you. And you can bring your left hand towards your knee, or maybe it just stays on your ankle or your foot. And feel like you're trying to rinse out the spine. As you look over to the right, doesn't matter how much you twist. If it feels okay, you can even bring that gaze all the way over the right shoulder, or you can just keep the head and neck neutral. Then start to come back to the middle. You can reach the arms up, stretch it tall, and twist over to the other side. So this time using that left hand as a kickstand, your right hand wherever it lands on the front of the body. Use your breath. One more here. Then unwind, untwist, reach the arms all the way back up. And release the arms down again, any movement you want. And if your legs have been crossed, especially if your legs have been crossed, go ahead and straighten them out, shake them out. Maybe roll out the ankles, wiggle the toes. And then just allow the legs to get really kind of heavy here. Feel as if the backs of the legs are trying to melt in the floor. The legs are a little wide. It doesn't matter how wide that wide is. But I just want you to find a place where you can try not to keep holding on into the legs so much. And just like we did before, we're going to lean a little forward. And that could literally be like 1 degree. Or you can go a little bit more forward. Your hands can walk out. Sometimes it helps to just like let the hands guide you forward. Or maybe the arms just rest on the legs. You can allow the head to be heavy if that feels okay. Feel a little rounding in the back body, like you're trying to create a little bit of extra breathing room. Tuning in with your breath. Couple more here. Last breath. Slowly start to bring yourself upright. Nice and tall. Again, any movement that feels good. We're going to start to transition onto our hands and our knees. So take whatever you need on your way there, whatever you need to get there. If your floor is a little bit hard, you can always add an extra blanket underneath your knees for support. We're not going to be here forever, but we'll be here for a little bit. So just being really mindful of that pressure on the knees. And as you arrive in your tabletop position, we'll start to make a couple of those cat-cows. So they can be standard cat-cows, letting the belly button drop towards the floor, and then rounding the spine. Or they can be totally different if you want to move from side to side a little bit, or take a little bit of circles. Allow your breath to guide you as you move. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then find a nice neutral tabletop position. So if being on your palms, like on your wrists like this for more than a couple of seconds is just really uncomfortable for you, you can go ahead and drop onto your forearms. Know that that option is always available. You can always move back and forth between the two. But go ahead and extend your right leg back behind you and hook the toes under, almost as if you're going to come into like a plank pose. We're not going to. And then just start to press the heel back. And you might even rock a little bit forward and back. So leaning out of it and then leaning into it again. And then begin to lift the leg up hip height. So let the foot float up off of the floor. So you can flex the foot, feel as if that lift is coming from the backs of the legs, the glute. You might feel a little off balance. Can you just hug everything back to the middle and know that the floor is right there. So you can always tap the toes down and up at any point. One more breath. We're just holding, finding a little bit of stability here. And then release the foot down, keep the leg straight. And you're going to start to turn the left toes over to the left and roll onto the inside of your right foot. So that way you can reach the right arm up to the sky, stretch it really tall. You might even reach the hand forward. And then release everything down. Come back to your tabletop position. Just start to press your hips back towards your heels for child's pose. Just taking a pause. One more breath here. And then start to come back up onto your hands and your knees. If you want a little bit of movement in the spine here, go for it. And again, you can be on your palms or drop onto your forearms, but we'll go ahead and do the other side. So extend your left leg back. You're gonna keep the toes curled under. Again, you can just press back and hold, or you can rock. And then you'll start to lift the foot up off of the floor. Doesn't matter how high it goes, just feel that engagement through the back of the leg, the glutes. Feel like you're trying to press the floor down. Use your breath to hold you. The floor is right there if you want to come in and out of it. Last breath here. Release the left toes back to the ground. You're going to keep the leg straight and start to kick your right foot over to the right side. Roll onto the inside of your left foot and reach the left arm up to the sky. And release everything down to the ground. Again, always welcome to add any movement. You can come towards a child's pose, just as a pause. One more breath here. Make your way back into a tabletop position. And we'll start to come into a downward facing dog. So curl the toes under and lift your hips up and back. Coming into that upside down V. So taking any movement when you want when you first arrive. You can always stay in a tabletop position. And rock the hips a little bit. You can pedal out the legs. And just start to walk your hands and your feet towards each other. You'll probably land somewhere in the middle of your mat. And keep a little bend into your knees. If staying in this kind of reverse direction for too long is really uncomfortable for you, meaning your heart is above your head, you can always come into this halfway lift, almost like you're squatting into a chair. The legs are going to work a little bit harder, but your head and your heart will be aligned. So know that that option is always available to you, and you also can come to stand. We're not going to be here for that long. If I'm feeling really tight or tender some days, I like to just be in a forward fold and move around a lot. And sometimes I just like to be super still. Everybody start to bend into your knees. You're going to come towards that halfway lift. Feel the crown of your head reach forward. And then press into your feet. Reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Grow nice and tall and long. And then release your arms all the way down. And let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. And lean over to the right side. So just adding a little side body here. Come back to the middle and go over to the other side. Come back to the middle, release the arms. Again, adding any movement that feels good. And we're going to come back towards that forward fold. So again, you can always stay at that halfway lift. But just start to bring your fingertips towards the ground, because all we're going to do is bring the left leg back and let the knee come to the floor. So your right foot is forward, your left leg is back. Again, go ahead and add extra padding behind that back knee if you need it. You can bring your hands up onto your right thigh and just start to feel as if your hips are trying to go forward. But even though the legs are in two different positions, know that they're trying to move forward together. Maybe your hands are on your hips. Maybe they even reach up to the sky. Playing a little bit more with your balance. Really rooting into the bottom of your right foot and your back leg. So that way that can help stabilize you. Just one more breath here. Bring your hands to the ground. And then just slide your right knee back to your left. So we're moving back into that tabletop position. Extend your left leg back. So just like we did a few moments ago, keep the toes hooked onto the floor. We're going to come right into that side variation that we did. So roll onto the inside of your left foot, turn your right toes to the right, and then reach the left arm up to the sky. Maybe you stay right here, or maybe you let the left foot float up off of the floor. Maybe you let it float and then you lower. Don't forget to refocus on your breath. One more. Yeah. That foot is still floating. Let it come back to the floor. Come back towards your table. And let's pause in a child's pose. Now, child's pose is not a comfortable place for you to pause. You can take a pause anywhere. You can sit, you can lay on your belly. Finding a place to reconnect to your breath. Maybe roll out your wrists. One more breath here. Come back towards your tabletop. And then you'll start to bring your left foot forward. So maybe it comes up in one step, maybe it takes 500 steps. We're just going to switch sides. So bring the left foot forward, right knee stays on the ground. Walk your hands up to your thigh. You can stay there for stability. Again, feel as if your hips are trying to press forward, but they're going together. So that might prevent you from going as far as you initially want. You can always reach your arms up to the sky. Check in with your balance, check in with your breath. Your sides are gonna feel totally different. One more breath here. Bring your hands towards the floor. We'll bring our left foot back to meet our right. Back towards our table. And then this time extend your right leg back. Keep the toes hooked under. Turn your left toes towards the left, roll onto the inside of the right foot, and then reach the right arm up to the sky. So again, you can stay right here and maybe you start to play with floating the right foot up off of the floor. Use your breath. Head and neck is wherever you feel most stable. One more. Release the foot down, come back towards your tabletop, and find a place to pause. One more breath wherever you're pausing. And then you're just gonna roll yourself all the way onto your belly. So you can make a pillow with the hands. Or you can turn one cheek to the ground and have your arms by your side. Take a couple of moments to adjust. And just start to bring yourself up onto your forearms, coming into Sphinx pose. So you can start with feeling like your elbows are underneath your shoulders and know that you can always bring the elbows a little bit more forward to help lessen the bend in the lower back. But you just be mindful that you don't want to go too far forward. You're just trying to find that Goldilocks spot, that sweet spot. And if it feels okay, bring your gaze forward. Or you can always just keep the head at a neutral position, the neck at a neutral position, so you're not rotating it, bending it one way or another. And then start to bend your left leg. Keeping your heel towards your butt. It doesn't have to touch your butt. It doesn't have to come anywhere near your butt. Now you can stay with this little back bend here, or you can lower the upper body, but I'll show you where we're going. So you're gonna kind of parallel, turn that right arm. That's just gonna help with your balance. And then reach your left arm to find your left foot. And so maybe it finds the foot, maybe it only finds your pant leg. Maybe it just waves to the foot. So you'll open the left shoulder in order to get there, but then I want you to create a little bit of resistance and try to square that left shoulder back off towards the front. So again, you can stay up and add a little bit of back bend here, or you can lower the upper body and just kind of focus on the stretch of hugging the back foot in. Sometimes you don't know where you need to go, and so you kind of play a little bit in both spots too. Don't be afraid to do that. Couple more breaths. And then gently release. You can come all the way back onto your belly. If it feels good, you can windshield wiper the legs. Take a pause, observe, tune in, check in. Sides probably feel a little different, at least for a moment. And then make your way back to your Sphinx pose. Take a breath. Start to bend your right leg. And you can kind of kickstand that left arm a bit. So that way you can reach around and find the right foot. The sides are totally different, so you might be able to reach it on one side, but not the other. That's okay. You can always hold your pant. You can always wave to the foot. You can stay upright, having a little bit more of a back bend. See if you can create a little bit more resistance by turning in the right shoulder back towards the front. Or you can always lower down. But just going to give you less of a back bend. Last breath. And slowly start to release. Let the whole upper body come down to the ground. And windshield wiper the legs, or even just rocking the hips. Press yourself back up to a tabletop position. Doesn't matter how you get there, you can always roll to one side to bring yourself up. Take a couple of cat cows here. Let's neutralize the spine. and rock also a little bit. And you'll start to come back towards a seated position. So where we started. Your legs can be crossed or they can be straight out in front of you. And just kind of take a moment to readjust to being seated. Sit yourself up on a pillow or a blanket, or you can just be on the ground. Take a deep breath. And start to slide the soles of the feet together and let the knees be wide. So creating this butterfly shape with the legs. Your feet can be really close to you. They can be really far away, more like a diamond. They can be somewhere in the middle. And this is the perfect spot where if you have a couple of extra pillows, you could, or even blocks, you can just slide them underneath your thighs. Especially if you feel like you're having a hard time allowing the legs and knees to just kind of let go. And you can stay upright here, or you can start to hinge at the hips and come a little forward. Can bring your hands onto the floor. They can rest on the ankles or the toes. Whether or not you're really leaning forward or you're a little bit more upright, just start to rotate the torso over towards the right knee. So whether it's more of a twist or if it's more of like a twist and a lean. And then start to bring the torso back towards the center and over to the left. Last breath here. Come back towards the middle. And then slowly bring yourself up. Can extend the legs, shake out. If that feels good, if anything I give you is just not what your body wants at the moment, you can always ignore me and do something else. But we're gonna start to make our way onto our mat. Anything you need on the way there, anything you want to do to get there. When you do arrive, you can hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Then let the feet just rest on the floor, a little windshield wiper with the knees. Walk your feet a little wide and allow the knees to knock towards each other. If there's anything else that your body is craving in this moment, feel free to take that. You're feeling really good here and you just want to stay here, you are welcome to take Shavasana where you're at. Or you can just start to let the legs fall out in front of you. Arms fall by your side. Then throw some props underneath your knees or your thighs. If you're near a wall or a couch, you can always throw your legs up there. And just finding a place where your body can soften and release. In gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. Starting to bring some awareness back into the space. Starting to bring some awareness back into the body. Inviting small movements back in. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rolling out wrists and ankles. And rocking your head from side to side. And stretch your arms up overhead. And rolling on to your side. Pausing for a moment. Using the strength of your arms, beginning to press yourself up, coming into a comfortable seat. And keeping the focus inside. Bringing your hands to your heart center, gently bow your head. Thank yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.